Togozani tribe, it's been a minute since we've been here. I think the last time I came on YouTube Live was when we were busy organizing Kulumkasha's show in the Ano restaurant. And thank you so pretty much for everyone who showed up. We had a fantastic time, and then I was out of the country, and yeah, then we hit the festive season. Then I took a short break, and then I came back. Oh yeah, but when I came back on live, I was focusing on Q&A and dream interpretations on Instagram. So tribe members. So my offerings for 2023 is we are going to be doing Thursday lives again, both on YouTube and Facebook. And those who've got Instagram can come in on Instagram to have an interactive session with me where I would do dream interpretation, and I would also um, I will also then do Q&A, but these would be classes like where I teach on specific topics as per your suggestions. So yeah, what is it? It's compliments of the new season, and I think those who follow the Gregorian calendar, it's Happy New Year. Not necessarily because whether you are in the southern or in the northern hemisphere, there's nothing new blossoming about this season, right? In the northern hemisphere is winter, so this is a time to retreat and reflect. And for us, this is summer in the southern hemisphere, so this is a time to really also a time of letting go. And this is what Mkulu Kasha said. We had church on Sunday, and he was preaching about this is a rainy season. This is we getting a lot of rain in South Africa at this time. So it's a good time to be actually letting go, because rain is about washing, rejuvenating, and cleansing and purifying. And it got me to think like that's why we grew up with a lot of our family members at the beginning of this month. They would do cleansings and ceremonies as a way of releasing, so then they can, prepare for when they need to release. So when they go into a season of retreating and reflecting, it's also they've released the old. It's good to see everyone. Oh my God, I have missed some of the tribe members on on Facebook and YouTube. Tribe, do indicate pretty please where you are checking in from. So let's do a quick check-in. So I am checking in from my house in Mohale City. So I'm no longer in the city of Johannesburg. I'm based in Mohale City now. So this is where I'm currently at. And I almost postponed the stream. So what was happening is that I was realizing that I'm not winning because my network is off, and our Wi-Fi is down. It's the whole area, actually, the whole of Gauteng. Our fiber was down. So when I think just at 5 2, I was going to check on Mkulu and asking if he's got some signal so I can update on the YouTube that we're moving the time to a later time. I was gonna do it on Saturday, but then I realized, oh, we're back online. Hey, hey, Coco, the guy. Good to see. So, guys, check in. We've got Free Spirit Portal from Arizona, the US. That's brilliant. Buyiswa is checking in from Springs. Hey, I'll be in Springs next week. Hey, I've got a graduate that's going to be based in Springs. So, those who are needing consultations in the East End, actually, I'm going to have about 4 new graduates that are going into the East. We've got a Skupu from the Democratic Republic of Kinnikin. Where is that? We've got Vuyo from Kailicha. We've got Dumi checking in from Midrand, my previous neighborhood in Kailami. Um, we've got Dumo as well checking in from Midrand, Kailami. We've got Anda from Umtata, Witumelo in the northwest. Good, hey? We've got Soli from Pumalanga. We've got Maho from Kagiso, yeah, you my neighbor. Kagiso's on the other side of where I stay. We've got Stan from Botswana. We've got Bongazi from Utenach. That sounds like that's in Germany. We've got Toya. We've got Spiwe from Durban. Emmanuel from Cosmo City. That's where the practice is. We've got Temba. Yeah, that's my brother, guys. Temba's my brother from Mamelodi. It's good, eh? Ngiyabongela bhuti wami. I'm happy that you're here. Um, God Pumeza, because Temba is my brother from my paternal side of the family, and his wife just recently graduated. So she's in Mamelodi. So those who are needing a healer in Mamelodi, now I'm connected to mums. My apologies. We've got Matiliso from Nigel. Nigel, great. I've got people now who we've got a person going to Delmas in Feb, and next week I'm taking a graduate to Springs, and then the following 2 weeks I'm taking two in Bosbeck. And I know I've been struggling with the East Rent, but finally I can have solid healers there. We've got Homozo all the way from New Zealand. That's amazing. Siamo from Brett's. Aho is from Ancestral. Is that the Northern Cape or Western Cape? And then we've got Nabiso. Okay, we've got Mukhalaje from Bloemfontein. Great tribe. This is very exciting. Remember, hit on the subscribe button if you are tuning in from YouTube. Put on the notifications, even on the Instagram, on the Facebook page. Do put your notification on. You won't miss a live when I have a live. I'm actually excited. That's why Instagram is on my in my headspace. I got a verification. Finally, we are official on Instagram. I've been trying now on Facebook to become official. What verification? It means you are publicly recognized as a public figure, but it also, when people are looking for you, people can tell between the fake Coco Dinero and you know um, the real one. So blue tick does count. Where in Springs is Coco going this weekend? I'm not sure, Coco, but I know it's in Springs. It's on the other side of the prison, I think, but I'm not sure. I saw that it was like 15 minutes away from Springs Mall. I'm not sure. I'll know by the time I come back there. And Andisa from the Western Cape, and Tapseng from Protea Clan. Tapseng, I've got healers in Protea Clan, plenty of them. Betla from Cosmo City. This is where the practice is. This is where I first stayed. Busisi where from. Oh, congratulations on the verification. It deserves a verification party. So on Instagram, when I came back this year, I started to ask people. I asked people to ask me questions, and I was responding to the Q&As on my stories. And somebody said, "Coco, we need a breakfast." So if this is something you want, breakfast with Coco Dineo, this will be an intimate session where we can have good meal. And yeah, maybe it might not be breakfast. I started intermittent fasting, um because one of the things I am letting go of this season is unconscious eating, and eating for comfort, and eating as a way of just getting myself distracted. So it's a fasting period where you are limited. So I fast for 16 hours and I eat for those 8 hours. So maybe breakfast might not be good because I might not enjoy Mara. It can be a lunch with cocoa now. Awesome. So now that everybody's here, let's get straight into the topic. I'm surprised we have so many people tuned in, even with load shedding. I mean, we stage 6 load shedding in South Africa. As I said, I don't experience load shedding. This house is logic given. There's no load shedding whatsoever. But when I don't have Wi-Fi, there's a little bit of struggle because I'm changing service providers. I guys, sell CJ, I bet. Where exactly in Protea Clan? By the Protea Clan police station, there's a healer there. But I've got lots of healers in Soweto. So even if you WhatsApp the institute, they'll give you a database. We've got healers in Pretoria, that's Mamelodi, that's Garangua, two in Garangua, and I'm gonna have one on the brink of Garangua and Brett now, who's going home in March. We've got a lot of healers in Soweto, Rockville, Protea Glen, um, Deep Kloof, no, not Deep Kloof, Protea Glen, Jablani, yeah, the list is long. And I've got in Centurion as well. I have a healer in Centurion, and then I've got a healer in Bloemfontein as well. So the Ganzi Institute family and graduates are expanding as they grow, of course, because not everybody has the resources, meaning the time and the means to make it to Cosmos City, and not everybody likes visual consultations. I've moved my own visual consultations to be consulting, working at home. So every Tuesday I'll be working, but I'll be working from home. So those who've booked telephone consultations, if it got postponed, please understand that when load shedding happens, even when the signal comes back, it takes a while for it to kick in. And this is also good for my international clients. It means that your consultations will also be pushed out quickly. So we are sitting at a very low, yeah, the assistant I have, she's amazing. We're sitting at low waiting list for my own one-on-one consultations. So that's great. Oh, Koko Mahlambezulu, Togoza Koko Mahlambezulu from Africa. Okay, Thokozani again. So we are talking about a topic that I first had a teaching on. It's on my YouTube in 2019. And what inspired this topic is one, I was separated with Mukul at the time and I was dating somebody else, and it was just feeling like, we were oil and water, and it was very complex and very complicated. And then I started to look at, but how is it like dating someone like me, especially if you are not a healer yourself? Because when you are dating someone like me, you're not only in a relationship with me, but that relationship involves the relationship with my people, and that can really complicate things in the relationship. The other thing is that, of course, what we mean, for those who are who are not in South Africa, we mean that, relationships will show you flames, and people would also be scared of dating spiritually gifted people, especially once they qualified as a Sangoma. So let me deal with some of the distortions here. So some of the misconceptions of when you are in a relationship with Isangoma, what does it mean? So people normally fear, there's a phobia around dating Isangoma because you feel like you'll be under 24-hour surveillance. So we have Wi-Fi portals that are connected to yours, so we can see every single thing that you do. So you can't get away with things because we will see it. So vele angeke usihlalele, udlale ngathi, because we'll see it. But that's not true, because we don't always see. Remember, when healers are human, right? They still are human. So the false belief that as healers we need to know better when we are in relationships, and we are going to be the redeemers and the messiahs of that relationship, and we have to hold it together, it's incorrect, because I'm still human when I get into the relationship. When I interact with you, there are very much aspects of Dineo that are part of that relationship. So meaning Dineo and her own past experiences, Dineo and her own traumas, Dineo and her own wounds, Dineo and her own limitations are going to be in that relationship with you. So as much as I can know, it doesn't mean I'm an expert when it comes to my own personal relationships, because the assumption is that if one can help other people, why can't they help themselves? The reason why you are limited is not that you can't, but you are challenged to help yourself, is because you are emotionally involved. And when you are emotionally involved, your objectivity when it comes to the issue at hand becomes quite, blurred. It becomes very blurred. It's not easy for you to remain objective and see the relationship for what is, without you wanting to interpret it based on your own emotional engagements with that relationship. Are people following me? Yes, if you're experiencing load shedding, it's fine. We're gonna save this so you can look at it when you have electricity come back. So we're going to just mute questioning right now. You can make comments, and of course, engage me if this is making sense for you. That's fine. Hey, Ashton, it's good to see you. You're on YouTube. Yes, Ashton from um, East London. So note that when we get into the teachings, you are going to mute questioning, because I know pennies will drop, things will be triggered, and you'll want to ask me questions. If you've got, actually, you need to start making it a norm coming into their lives with a pen and paper, because bombshells are dropped, revelations are revealed, inspiration comes forward. So much is revealed, and it would be good for you to make your own notes along the path. So I just wanted to cover some of the misconceptions about dating a healer, which has created a phobia for some people, because now you are making us non-human. We are not, we're not celestial beings, so we don't come with an all-knowing. When we come into the relationship, I don't come into a relationship knowing everything about your past, your shenanigans, your greatness, your no. I can know some things because of the gifted person that I am, but I don't know everything. So that means that you come into a relationship knowing that I'm also getting into this relationship to get to know you, right? And as I get to know you and as I get to like you, when my emotions get involved, then some of my, intuitive reflexes also slow down a little bit, because then I become vulnerable with you. So that's what I needed to speak about. So let's get to some of the tips of when you are dating a spiritually gifted person or a Sangoma. There's a difference between being gifted and being a healer. So, what's the difference? Gifted is you know that you've got some sort of spiritual calling towards the healing. You've got a healer's template, but you are not yet trained. But when you are now trained and you're a healer, that's completely different, because certain things will not be applicable for just a gifted person, but they are more applicable for one who is trained and qualified. And this is one of the main ones. When one is already initiated and is isangoma, especially within the modality of isinguni nesindao, and then I explain why, because there's different modalities of ubungoma. So ubungoma, it's not just unguni nomdao. There are different healers amongst ubungoma. Kunetonge limhlope, there's amandao, there's isiZulu, there's Malopo, there's Spilongo. So there's a variety of those things. But Esindaweni, now the now ancestral spirit, which is a topic I'm going to revisit this year, the now ancestral spirit is, it's a spirit already that comes with a lot of disgruntlement. We initiate it to restore it back into harmony. So there has been certain transactions and misfortunes and violations that have been perpetuated or that have been done towards that particular ancestral spirit. So it requires one to really be mindful. I want to say mindful, not pure, but really be mindful and be disciplined when you are then initiated in that code of practice, because you can't just invite anyone is going to temper and distort the discipline, the purity that has just been received from your initiation process. I hope you are following me, tribe. So when one is initiated, I will speak in the context of itong both, meaning the Tao, is that post initiation you are like a newborn baby that is needing to accustom to the world outside the confines of their Mbande, meaning their sacred initiation place. Because Mbande is a space, it's a home of initiation. So when you go out, you are like a newborn baby who's now needing to, right, accustomize this baby, which is now Mkulu or Gogo, because in the spirit realm, you are still new, right? You can be Gogo and Mkulu, but post initiation, you still new. So you still need to familiarize yourself with that. And remember, because during initiation, you are abstaining from any intimate acts, from any sexual intimacy, because the reason why you are abstaining and you are refraining from it is because you are going through a rebirth. So you are going through a rebirth and your spirit is awakening to your greatness. So when you're going through that awakening process, you can't be inviting other energies because they're going to interfere. You are also caring and cleansing yourself of any unwanted energies. And we know that intimacy, we know Uti Umkrofkrofu is a energy transference situation. It's not only two bodies coming together, but it's two spirits coming together. So it's also because that act is the act of creation. So you are learning to tap into your creator energy powers. So when you are tapping into creator energy powers and you are busy tapping into the physical energy creator powers, you are going to be interfering with that process. So you'd see that people who then don't adhere to that, non-sexual activity during initiation, they would go out of initiation. Even during initiation, they will have certain struggles. They would, be like, I can't see, or I'm seeing things that don't make sense. It's because you've got other spirits that have embodied you. Because when usephehlweni, your level of absorption, you're a portal that's like this. You are very much open, so you easily absorb energies. So you don't want to be absorbing energies while you are trying to reconfigure your own energy and work with your energy towards a point of ascension. Because that's when you keep on bringing other unwanted energies, they're going to interfere with your progress in terms of your initiation process. So post-initiation process, it is important that for you to actually have a ritual act called umahlangani. So there's different kinds of umahlangani. So there's one for those who are, still basajola, and there's mahlanganiso for those who are committed, and then mahlanganiso for those who are married. Those you would have to ask your kobela for. It's not for me to come here and teach you about the different types of mahlanganiso. The one you do for umjolo it doesn't commit you to this person for eternity, because there has not been any prior commitment of it for eternity. But there are people who they have children together, and their intention was to, wed, and then petrol happened. So we do normally ask people before we take them home, how do you then want to be in relationship with this person you are in relationship with? Because remember also, epiphany, when you are initiating, some people lose. I've had people who their husbands have left them, and one of the reasons is because they can't wait for so long. But number two is because they also know that they're up to no good. And where the person is at, vibrator quite high. So they will be able to see the things that they want to keep concealed. So when people want to keep things concealed, they will not want to be in a relationship with a revealer. Did you hear that? So when people want to keep things concealed, they will not want to be in a relationship with a revealer. So this would also apply to you as a spiritually gifted, even though you are not initiated, because you can still see things. You can still reveal and dug up debt on concealed information. So one of the things that people who become scared of dating people like us is because they want to continue misbehaving. They want to continue doing things, Sangoma or no Sangoma, gifted or not gifted, that they know that morally they are not right. They want to keep those things going. So that's why people get scared. So when you have been initiated, it's very important for you to do the mahlanganiso process post your initiation. It will definitely help you, one, right? Make sure that you're in a relationship with the right person. So things will quickly start to unravel about if this is the one. Number two, it protects that relationship. Because remember, when you're a healer and you are now initiated, your energy is high, so you are vibrating great vibrations. So you become like a flower nectar that bees want to attach to. But you can also attract vampires or pesticides, so those who like to siphon and take other people's power at the expense of siphoning their energies away. So you can also attract those who are not coming in with good intentions, who are coming in to just take from you and siphon from you. So moyenza umahlanganiso that when you go into that, you will see that it might be a bit challenging for you to do it with that person, or immediately after you get into that mahlanganiso ritual, then you start to see things that you've never seen about that person, because it's bringing together not the two of you only, but a community of your ancestors. Because remember, you went through a rebirth. You are not longer just Dineo, you are Dineo and Umkhulu Sbanban. So it's to also inform Umkhulu Sbanban, which Udineo as a woman needs to be in a relationship. She needs a confidant, she needs a companion. So that's why sometimes people struggle with being in relationships post-departure, because who's this person? Because remember, Ithlos Lako is there to also watch and guard you. So when somebody is coming, they're like, who the hell are you? What you coming in with? What's up with you? What's up with you? Then you find yourself, stepping into some higher, greater masculine energy there, that you're like, oh my God, what's going on? Now there are two bulls in one horn, right? And then it becomes a problem. So that is one of the reasons why ones who are gifted only not initiated and ones who've been through initiation, that's a clear distinction of why some things might not be applicable. So when you are dating a spiritually gifted person, firstly, you need to understand, Uguti, that person walks with an army of other people. So sometimes they would come across as a robot. 1 minute to red, 1 minute is orange, 1 minute is purple. And you can never know, because every time you are waking up, you are also waking up with these people. And it's not the same person all the time. And when you are dating a person who is spiritually gifted, whoever that shows up in that relationship shows up with your partner. But when you go through initiation, you might actually learn how to decipher between who's Dineo and who's Mkulu X. So I can tell when Mkulu X is present. It took me a while though to tell, but Mkulu, my husband, Ubabundans, can tell Mutai, Lo is not my wife. This is my baba. Because remember, I initiated him. So he would know what man just so who's Ubabuam. And me, and the reason, the gift is that we have a separate workspace and a home space. So Ubaba normally doesn't show up here at home. But Mrs. Mpandeni, I still can be his wife, but he would know that Majo Ubaba, especially when we are at work, when the work is active. Mrs. Mkitini, Mrs. Nsebenzo, uyazi ukuthi ngisebenza nobaba, because my tone of voice changes, my demeanor and mannerism change. We were actually even talking with Abogogo past weekend, which they can now tell when their baba is around, because I become a man. I sit like this, literally. I take off my earrings, I take off accessories, and I sit and I go like this, because the man, so I would go like this, and they say, my whole facial features change. I actually embody the face of a leopard. So it means that when you are dating somebody like that, you need to be able to get to know them and their gift. Number two, it is also important for you as a spiritually gifted person, when you feel like you are at a point where you really want to take things to the next level with your partner, to disclose which you are gifted. Because misleading someone it's unethical for a spiritually gifted person, because so it's very important for you to also say, hey, I can see good, we've gone out on 3 dates and there's something developing here, but you gotta know, good, Mina, I'm this type of person. Because you don't want to find yourself married to a person who does not subscribe to the things that you do. Then when you have to honor them, then it becomes a problem. You understand? When you have to honor them, then it becomes a problem. So it's very important for us to also be honest and be upfront about the people that we are in it's like, it's a basic etiquette in a relationship. You would then share information that you know that being in that relationship will impact and affect the person that you're in a relationship with. So one of the principles that really works in relationships, irrespective of the nature, whether it's a queer relationship, whether it's a poly relationship, whether it's a polygamous relationship, it requires honesty, because honesty is a foundation to a relationship. Because a lot of relationships fall apart because there is dishonesty, because you can't keep up with the lies, guys. Excuse me, I just had a little bit of acidic food today. Because you are not only lying to them, you are lying to yourself, and you're deceiving yourself. And when you're deceiving yourself, you are actually disconnecting with your energy force that leaves you even more vulnerable when you find yourself in a relationship that you're not meant to be, because you continuously are denying your power. You are denying who you are. So when you are denying who you are, you get into a relationship as an actor or as an actress, as a role. And when that role doesn't longer apply and the real you needs to be in a relationship, it becomes very difficult for you to navigate. I hope that you are following me. Secondly, the other thing, well, is thirdly, because I spoke about the honesty. Thirdly, when you're dating somebody who's spiritually gifted, you need to also understand Uguti, working with them, being in a relationship with them, it's not you are not tying yourself to the demands of their ancestors. So you are not committing to their demands of their ancestors. You can be respectful and you can be honorable, but it doesn't mean you need to meet every ancestral request and expectation of theirs. So what I mean by that, if kuthiwa ukuthi umuntu manje fanele aye emanzini, then you must show up. You dating this person, then umuntu fanele abe so, you're still dating and finding each other out. So you are not the one to actually be in honor and in response of every ancestral request because you are that person's partner. It is not your responsibility to fix the things that need fixing in your partner's life because you are in a relationship with them. It is not your responsibility to be the one that actually takes decisions and leads the processes of your partner. They still are responsible for their lives. You are there as a supporter. Because you see, you don't have to believe in things for you to support them. Because it could be like, Yazin, baby, I understand it, but I support and I'm willing and I'm open to learn, which leads me to point 4. Be open to learning, be curious versus being judgmental. Because when oh my God, that's so nasty, that's so ugly. That really, because remember, as a dinero, I'm carrying my own stuff. So that can come across as criticism, and no one wants to be in a relationship with a critic partner, because criticism is attacking the character of someone, whereas critique is actually addressing the behavior that is inappropriate. Did you get that? When I am criticizing you, I am attacking your character. So when you attack a character yako, it means ukuthi sengithi awunasimilo phela. But when I'm critiquing something, I'm like, hey, are you okay? You see? Versus, that's nasty, man. Why are you doing that? It's not ladylike. That is an attack on me. But when I'm saying, this is interesting, it's weird, hey? What's going on? Why do you have these babs? Have you eaten something? Because remember, biology tells us that babs are caused by a discomfort in the stomach. It's a sign of acid reflux or heartburn, etc. But Tina, umoya. There's a presence of umoya that is connecting, that is seeing, that is hearing, that is feeling something in the space, in the room, with that person, then I know. And you need to also, as a spiritually gifted person, start to learn. Babs, as I'm saying, they come from your core, like they come from the sacral. The ones that are coming from your chest and your throat, normally those ones are acid reflux. I'm not talking about stomach pain. I'm talking about a BEP, because it's one that easily flows. There's no discomfort that is associated with that BEP. Then you can be able to tell what it's this is umoya, and no, la too much acidic food. I've consumed a lot of acid, and my body's just responding to the inflammation that is in my stomach. So that's that. The other thing when you are dating with when you are with a spiritually gifted person is that understand what your intentions are with that person, because akudlalwa laphaya, right? So akudlalwa laphaya, you are not, it's like, don't mess around and play around. If you are wanting to have fun, be upfront, honesty again about mina, I just want cloth, I'm just here for puff and pass, nothing else. Because remember, this person already, they are vibrating at a higher frequency than your ordinary people because of their gift, right? Every one of us have the ability to rise our vibration. But the reason I'm saying that, remember, a healer is one who sees things that have not been, said to them, that have not been shown to them or conversed with them, but they would be revealed to them through, through the spiritual realm. So you are messing with a celestial world here. You are messing with the celestial world, and you don't want to mess with the celestial world, because remember, this gifted person is a foot soldier of the celestial world. What do I mean by that world? This is the ether. This is the world where the ancestors are. This is where, well, some of the ancestors are. This is where the world's spirit guides are, angels are, where creator is. So when you are being deceitful, you are not only deceiving Dinewo, but you're deceiving a whole village. And when the retaliation comes, it becomes unpleasant. Because remember, let me give you a practical example. Ujola nomuntu ofana nami, bese ngithi man, yazi baby, I'm dreaming of this, man. Ngihlala ngiphupha nenye intombazana. And you're like, oh no, I don't know what that means, there's nothing going on. Okay, then I'm like, okay, cool, let's let it go. Then it comes, then it comes, then it comes, then it comes. Then what it leads to is that things will eventually collapse. And sometimes they collapse because remember, the ancestors are not there to punish you. You are being punished by your own deceit. Because here you are, drinking poison, hoping somebody else is taking it. But that's what it is. Deceit is like that. It's like I am digging a grave to hide myself, but I am burying myself in that grave. So that's the things that you also need to be able to know. And what you need to also be clear, you don't go ulobole idlozi so ungaloboli bathi hamba uyolobola idlozi if that person is not initiated. Ulilobola kabani? Because idlozi ulilobola kugobela walo muntu, because ulobola lelo dlozi. If lelo dlozi untabeni, uyolobola untabeni kubaba kaNtabeni. If lelo dlozi umanzini, uyolobola umanzini kubaba kaManzini. So you can't lobola an unknown ancestral spirit that has not yet been born or surfaced. You can't do that. And you can't also be forced to do it either if that's not what you want to do. That's why I'm saying to be clear of the intentions of getting into a relationship. Well, the pros is you've got a microscopic lens into things by dating a Sangoma and a spiritually gifted person, because they actually can tap into a world and intel that you don't have access to. That's a gift. So this is a person who can actually foresee danger. This is a person who can see a deal that's about to go wrong. This is a person who can actually smell a rat in a very clean, fancy river. So this is a person that can actually be there to be a guardian. That's the thing is, that's a person who is actually a guardian. And this, number two, the benefit is this could be an answer you've been seeking to the prayers that have been went unanswered. Because what they can be able to help with is help you work on the relationship with your ancestors. I'm just saying, but because this person is spiritually inclined, they can actually be able to support you into developing a relationship and forming a healthy relationship with your ancestors. The other thing, not in all cases, but I'm assuming in most cases, dating a Sangoma, you are not dating a person who has many eyes, who's still fishing the fish, who's still finding the best fish, because we understand preservation of our sexual energy is where our power is. So we don't give it to everyone and anyone. I'm not saying all of us don't, because hey, guys, we know that. But I'm saying ukuthi lo wazumthetho weshoba othwasile, you are told ukuthi awuhambe uvula nje. Yeah, you know, awuhambe uvula, asihambi nje sivula vula wena uyavula uvulela ubani nobani. No, you know, uhlokoloza nala kungahlokolozi khona. This is actually one of the things mina mengihambisa umntwana edlozi ngimtshela ukuthi gogo, protect. This is your temple. This part, these parts are your portal of your healer energy force. So you can't just open them to anyone and everyone because you are, you know. So it means, Guti, you are then in a relationship with somebody who's also seeking to settle down. So this is also good when you are looking for not play, for not child's play. You are looking for really being settled down. Thokozani, I've said a lot. Let me give a pause because I've been speaking for 40 minutes. Let's take some questions and then I'll cover the other pointers later. Let's go into the questions. So those who are on YouTube, you know how it works. If you buy a super sticker, your questions will come up to the top, and then you will be prioritized. But on Facebook, I'm not saying don't ask. You can still ask. So you just use. Please try and be clear and precise and straight to the point, unlike writing me a whole story about what happened and what's about to happen. So be very clear in that. So while we're waiting for the questions, it is possible when you are dating someone that you like each other and you love each other, but spiritually you're not compatible. Spiritually, when there's no compatibility, that relationship will struggle. Remember, the ancestors are not dictating. The ancestors are your guides. They're not are the ones who say, we want this one, we don't want this one. They just tell you that this one is not good for you. Because remember, city, babona lasnabon kona, aboma vulag vali. So meaning that because they are in the spirit world, so they've got spiritual intelligence to see 2 to 3 years from now. So they can see good. So when they say abamfuni, it's because of the mikhuba, right? And if Upalisa is willing to make things work, we'll say, hey, let's go inquire with what is it about me that bangai funi? Because I'm really in here because I want to be in this relationship, you know? So spiritual compatibility is very important. And sometimes what creates spiritual incompatibility is that because things happen in your past lifetimes, things happen in your ancestral lineage past lifetimes between your two bloodlines. So when you are in a relationship with those who killed your ancestors in 1856. So when you are in a relationship, so sometimes you find yourself in fights that you have no idea what's going on. Why are we just oil and water? It's because your people did an injustice to my people. So how do we know and find out those things? Once you know, Guti, this is my person, man. This is a person I want to build. Before you put a brick on the ground, go and consult with your person to figure out what's going on, what is in your landscape. Because when you might want to marry this person, but they come with a whole ancestral pathology of darkness. They might be good looking, they might be well off, there might be all sorts of things, but they carry a pathology. So remember, we don't just marry the individual, we marry into the family, we marry into their community, we marry into their bloodline. So they could see that actually coming and being one with that bloodline is going to be poison to yours. So how do you know if you're not spiritually compatible but you love each other? I mean, we need to be very careful to get to this is the definite how you know, because there are other factors that make people not be compatible. I mean, we've got toxic people, we've got people who are manipulative, because that's actually one of the cons of dating a spiritually gifted person. If they are actually toxic, you will be deeply manipulated in the name of Amadlozi Ati. The ancestors are saying, the ancestors are wanting. So you can actually be in a relationship with a con artist and you will be looted of everything and anything you have in the name of the spirit of the ancestors is saying, especially if you are one pro ancestral spirits. So this could be, just be warned, because people will use what they desire in the name of ethos. And I told you this last year when I was doing my classes with Joy, how I learned the distinction between those ancestral voices and people's desires. So no ancestral, I mean, I know there's decisions I've made thinking is the ancestors' guidance, but I realized that the honest truth, one of the decisions I made was we broke up Mkhulu and I, and it was actually it was supported by the ancestors. It was not started by them, but they continuously reminded us to stay apart from each other. But what I can tell you, I wanted to be apart from Mkhulu too. And when I'm doing the healing work and reflecting, I'm like, I needed to be apart. So I probably drew on the energy of an ancestral spirit who was the distractor. Because that woman who would come and say, I must not be in a relationship. I mean, with Mkulu, when we broke up, she's never come back. She's never come back. But I also understand that we needed to, because we wouldn't be where we are right now in our relationship had we have not separated, because we would have been business as usual, and business as usual would have killed our business right now. We would have really destroyed what we are building right now. So it all makes sense. So you cannot just say, I know this person is not compatible, but when you know that both of you are loving and caring and you have mutual respect, so the foundations of a relationships are there, but something seems to always be off. There's always something that feels like you just will clash over, and it's not one-sided, right? It is not your partner being the aggressor, but both of you can be aggravated by each other. You also need to check, because spiritual compatibility can also mean ukuthi that person unesithitho esibuya kubo ukuthi wena angeke uzugane, wena angeke uzushade, wena angeke uzuqome, wena angeke uzuqonywe, so those things are also there. So spiritual compatibility is quite broad. So when you go there, you look into at what level is the non-compatibility at, and is this something that we can both work at and we can fix. I hope I answered your question. Let's go to label. Thokoza Koko, you touched me, because I'm in a relationship with a healer, and myself, I'm having a calling. I sometimes feel like a burden onto him. So let me also tell you, in most cases, healers will find each other, but they find each other in their most broken states. So they actually aggravate their brokenness than actually help each other heal. And I think for me, that's one of the reasons Mkulu and I had to part. I had my deep daddy mommy issues. He had his. And our time apart, we found this is one of the things people always ask me, how did you guys do it? One of the things is that during our separation, yes, as much as we dated other people, but we also saw we went for support. We had other people supporting our healing from what has happened. We've spoken before about one of the reasons that have led us to break apart, but we went and sought out healing. So I went to look at what were my things, because I was a control freak, guys. That is one of my weaknesses that I had in the relationship. And I found out that women who've been sexually violated by other men would have they have a need to be in control, because they don't want history repeating itself. The minute we feel we're losing control, it takes us back to a time where we felt powerless and we got violated. I hope that that's making sense. So when you say you feel like you're better at him, that's also that's not a pleasant way of describing yourself in relationship. Maybe he is mirroring things, because relationship, we are mirrors, guys. We are holding like huge mirrors towards each other. So we see ourselves in other people, we see our demons through other people. So some things that are aggravating us in what they're doing is the demons we are running away from, right? Some of the things that are aggravating us is the power they hold and they possess, and they actually, they claim that we are afraid to. Then we feel like you are too powerful, you are, khuluma kakhulu, because you are being agitated by their comfort of owning themselves. Tribe, I hope this is I want to put this. Comparable partners will be like a yin and yang. Definitely, because that's what we are. We are made of polarities. We are not made. Compatibility does not mean the same. Compatibility is it's how we complement each other. So Mkulu and I are a yin and yang, but sometimes it's more yang and I'm a bit yin. Sometimes I'm a yang, and so I've become over time. When I was doing my healing work, I realized that I've actually shut down my feminine because I had to actually use a lot of my masculine energy, and that was how my brain wired itself to help me survive being brought up in a violent township like Alexandra. I walked like a man. Besides Letos and Hambana, but this is how my brain adapted to the nature of my environment because I would have not survived. I would have not survived that environment. Because I've had, I don't know, I've had a series of violations, I've had attempts, so I needed someone to be like, hey, uthini wena ungazongijwayela, like khuluma ngani. I needed to get to that. So I suppressed because my inner child was like, when we are this way, we are asking for this because we know that nobody ever in the world can ever ask to be taken advantage of. Nobody has asked you to violate. So when you go through such a situation, you actually have to be able to adapt so you can survive. So your brain is currently wired to survive, not actually experience. They say when we go through traumas, we get into relationship for protection, not for connection. And that's why some people will stay in abusive relationships and can't leave because that relationship feels very familiar. When I was doing my healing work, one of the things I realized is that I was struggling to be in a relationship with Mkulu because Mkulu is quite soft and gentle, and that's actually the characteristics of my grandfather. So my grandfather died when I was 12, and I never got an opportunity to bury him, and there was no closure, and he died suddenly. I came from school and I was told he's gone, and like we were not allowed there, we couldn't. So I didn't go through that process. Then the men that afterwards were part of my life were violent, aggressive, dominating, controlling. So when I got into, then I made a vow, as like I'm gonna get into a relationship with men who are the opposite of what I experienced as a teenager. But guess what? Those men were boring. I found them boring because as a teenager, I didn't realize that that dramatic, violent life was quite exciting. It gave me an adrenaline rush. So I struggled in those relationships. Then I wanted to find men who were actually would reenact my childhood. My inner child is the one that opened that opened me to go into relationships that were not good for me. So I found myself in abusive relationship during my separation with Mkulu because that was my inner childhood. It felt familiar. So it felt like this one won't leave because I always had a fear that Mkulu is going to leave me. Like, I was not beautiful enough. I'm not good enough. And like what that Gogo said, it's a burden. I'm a burden. If you I'm I'm all sorts of things. So we self-sabotage in good relationships. So even with dating a spiritually gifted person, because they go through the most because of their process of awakening. So be cognizant of that. That sometimes it's not even the gifted them happening, is their childhood dramas playing that out. And don't shove it down their throat like you've got daddy issues. But how can you help them see that their behavior is troublesome to this relationship? And how can you support them in their healing? But you can't do the healing for them. So you can't go heal on their behalf. You can go and do your own healing, but they need to do their own healing too. Chagoza Gogo, is it possible for them to successfully negotiate with their ancestors to accept you as a partner, whereas they had someone else in mind? I want you to go watch, everybody, I'm encouraging you to go on my YouTube channel after here and binge watch my Does Lozi Choose Your Partner? Because you know that they don't. They don't. They support you. They don't. Your own spirit, before you are even born, has already chosen their companion. They have chosen their divine union partner. It's not the ancestors. The ancestors are there to support, guide guard you against those that are not meant to be in relationship with you. So your own spirit, because remember, you're a spirit body, you are an expression of creator. So your own spirit knows whom it wants. So when they say they're ancestors, it is also your own spirit that sees, because Bella, the more we get disconnected from our own spiritual intelligence, the more the less we recall the agreements we've made. So it could be like we don't want that partner because that's not the one. That's not the one. That's not whom we agreed we're gonna be in companion with. Because things manifest in yin and yang. Things manifest when there's father and mother energy frequencies coming together. Things happen when there is duality. So there has to be things like this. Ngapha nangapha, right? You see, we can walk kahle if you're only one. Awusebenzi kahle when isandla sakho siwani singasebenzi. So things have to work like this. So I don't want you to say their ancestors don't want you. Try and figure out what exactly is going on. And it's not for them to negotiate on your behalf. It's for both of you to do the work that can actually help you guys be compatible. Because some compatibility, no matter how much work we do, it's not just going to work. It's not going to work. Watch that video, because that video, the teaching I'm talking about, will also it will tell you how you know you're compatible. How do you know this is a life partner? Because spiritual relationships are not necessarily meant to be life partnerships. Spiritual relationships are relationships you have with people for a season, because they've come to serve a particular reason and a particular mandate. And those relationships are mostly intense. It's kind of like love at first sight, or you go at it, whoo, because what? Because you get trauma bonded, because both of you are coming in with deep wounds that are seeing each other like, yay, friend, I love you so much. Come here, poo, 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 poo. And mostly spiritually gifted people find themselves in relationship with aggressors, with violators, with toxic, with abusers, because remember, sinozwelo. So, it's easy for us to always want to try fix. You can't fix. No relationship can work with an effort of one person. That's why it's a relationship. It's about relatability. So you can't want to go heal issues of relatability on your own without working with somebody else. And sometimes issues of relativity, actually, most of the time, you will only know the issues and the wounds and the gap that you have by being in relationship. Because in relatability, things starts to surface. Yes, the message is relative and in the context of friendships. Thank you so much. I appreciate. I'm glad that this is important. Okay, is it important? It's important to deal with trauma, GBFV, etc., inner healing to make relation. It is incremental. It is fundamental. If we can work at healing our inner child, we can then be the adults we need to be in relationships. Because a lot of us are children in adult bodies trying to navigate an adult Njolo thing. And it's not gonna work. Yes, I will be saving this life. We self-sabotage in relationship because we seek for familiarity. So when your worldview gets formulated at childhood, so if you saw love, violence as an act of love, you inner child is gonna seek for that because it gives them a thrill, a rush, and things when your adrenaline is released and stress hormones, there's that particular rush, and when ucabanga ukuthi iyathanda uma ushawa kanti ayikhona. How many I grew up with women saying with yo maybe bangakushaya bakuthandi, because at the time, even in South Africa, we were in, I mean, we still are, we've experienced huge amount of violence in this country. So somewhat we are wired for violence as exciting. You see how people will repost the most inhumane videos on social media. Like they will retweet somebody being degraded because that's become a norm for us. That gives us some sort of satisfaction because our inner child have lived in the midst of violence and we were told that's normal. That's life. That's how life should be. That's how life should be. You can't cry. Stop it. Don't cry. Punjalo, How many of us come from those backgrounds. How Kalenan? Right. You come and say, oh, Bangshayla, Usnyefu, or oh, Bangshayla, now Shayel. Those things, because we've kind of normalized violence. So when we find ourselves in relationships that are non-violent, sometimes it becomes very difficult. You will sort out drama, not lying a cocoa. So that's what I mean about compatibility. Because remember, your spirit is connected to your soul. Your soul, this is where your memories are stored, because your soul is where your emotional body is. So things that have happened into you are stored in the soul, even if you don't remember them in your consciousness. So your brain now does not have the memory of what happened, but your soul remembers. Your soul also remembers what happened to your a life before this one, because it carries a record of your past lives, but a record of your ancestors, because some of the battles we are fighting is our mother's battles. It's our grandmother's battles. It's our because there are false programs that are running in our psyche, and those programs have informed how we show up in relationships. So that also needs healing. Tawasa Koko, so for the LGBTQIA, now there's an A. So I normally just say queer community. Is it possible for a lesbian and sister to choose a husband for her? Okay, so let me be clear. This is what I've learned. Spiritual wives and husbands are not sexual partners. No, they are not. There is no physical contact or emotional contact that you would have with somebody who's a spiritual husband or partner, like you would have with your your intimate partner. It means that they're there to support your work as a gifted person, not to kwela phezu kwakho. You see what I'm saying? So yes, it is, but we've misinterpreted it. Me too. I've been there where I thought, oh, it means a relationship. No, it meant there is a particular journey. That's a spiritual relationship. That person has come into your life for that season, to walk with you on this journey together, but not with Tandani. But because it's so deep, the connection is so deep, and when you are wounded, you can't tell it apart. It took lots and lots of healing for me to be able to say, le ayihlangani necansi, le ngithi ngiyenzile ngathi beyifunwa idlozi, bengahlangani necansi. That's why you won again. The relationships that went really sour, that I was not supposed to become intimate with them. It was just purely about a journey that I needed to take. And that's the mistakes that I've made, and that's why I can come here and teach these things, because I say spiritual healing, sometimes it becomes difficult for you to heal things that you've not experienced yourself, because you will judge them. If somebody comes now to ngashada nomuntu ngoba bebathi idlozi belifuphi, I can empathize because I've been there. I can empathize because I've experienced that. Then I can teach of like next time, and I can also say, let's look at the inner child in you that was attracted to that guy as well. Because remember, not every ancestral spirit is in the light. Some are false ancestors, some have agendas and missions that they need to fulfill. Some can cross over. They can't cross over so they are trying to find relevancy here instead of fixing themselves to cross over, because they were distractors. They still want to play the distractors, so there are still those spirits that will cause distraction in the name of mina ngumkhulu wakho ngifuna ube nabafazi abayi-20. Before you do that, go find out when he had Abafaz by 20, how was his life and the lives of his children and Abafaz. You'll find there's a lot of Uptagat in those families. So do you want to take on the calling of that ancestor? Because you are going to be having to carry the baggage as well. So rather than say, oh, because Mkulwabi, so I do it in Doyasakai. No, you say, oh, okay, where's this coming from? Okay, good, so I'm Kuluge Asitalela. Ngoba ngeke ushada abantu abayi-20 awunanethuba that time uyobashada ngani, because not everybody is meant to be polygamous and not everybody is meant to be monogamous either. Thank you for the contribution. Togoza Koko, I had a dream about receiving perfume on two consecutive. I'm not doing dreams, beloved. I'm talking about relationships. Please follow me on Instagram. My page is Koko Dineho Danzi. It's a verified page. I come on Tuesday or Wednesdays to do dream interpretations and Q&As like that. Thank you for the contribution. Today I'm talking about relationships. Skisne, sorry. Toza Koko, not sure if you address the issue of not getting a partner at all. Nomcholo, no one shares you. What are the reasons for that? Is it related to losing? As mina, ngihamba nabomkhulu, for example. It could be Koko, but get a look into it, right? It could be Koko. And if that's the case, there's into ukuthi silhlambulule, sikuthulule loyo mthwalo. So that, see, Sabeng can be a woman who gets into a relationship, okay? So it could be that, but it could also be utwasile gogo. I remember it was difficult to share it before utwasa. And I remember one of the guys, Mkhulu and Alex, make work to say, yo, Dineo, some of you are so beautiful. I got to look to us and because both sabega, because I guess he was saying this leopard that I am. Like I was just leopardy, so who wants to date a leopard? You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Kumalo, for the contribution. Very much appreciated. Guys, thank you so much. I gotta head to bed. School night. Yeah, let's do next week. What topic would you like me to cover next week? Just before we go, let's see quick request of topics because this was requested yesterday on Instagram. I hope the people who requested it are uthwasile, yeah. Then buyela hamba ukhuluma nobabakho gogo. Bahambe bayolungisa lehlo balithulule kuwe balehlise so that you can return back to your feminine, but also look in terms of your own frequency besides lelo dlozi, things that have happened to you that have made you become super masculine to a point where it becomes very difficult for you because it's if you want to be in a heterosexual relationship, then energy balance is important, even in a queer relationship, because we don't all be the same energy. That it's not about who's the man, who's the woman. No, it's about energy frequency, masculine and feminine energy. Coco, please stress the importance of mahlanganisa with the wife of a husband when the student goes home. I opened with uhlanganis. If you go, Leonora, and watch the first 10 minutes of this teaching, I spoke about it's important or nomuntu ozwana nayo before being sexually active. Before, not after. Before, because it's going to mess the relationship up. You might even end up breaking up and it's not going to be nice. So it's important. I did emphasize it. Okay, divorce. What do you want to know about divorce? Or would you, okay, go. No, when you, like me now, where that also avoids you doing frequent cleansings. I know there are rituals when I'm performing or I'm facilitating, we both abstain, but we don't always have to cleanse. I'm just so those who always have to frequently cleanse, they know they're doing wrong. But I'm saying, Guti, how many times can you treat something without the treatment never working again? Because you can only cleanse so much. Your body will stop responding. Your spirit body will stop responding because when udlala ngathi lokhu uthi hey ngiyashweleza abogogo angisuse ngiyaxolisa abogogo hayi bo kanti wena you can't say I'm sorry and repeat the same mistakes, guys. You can't do that, and this is what I tell nabogogo ukuthi angeke ushweleze bese uphinde icala, because ushweleza as an acknowledgement of the fault and the mistake and seeking redemption. So if you are repeating and repeating, then you're making even the situation worse. I'm sorry, but then I do the same thing again. I can't violate you and say sorry and keep on violating you. It means that I have no respect. I have no respect for you. I'm in a relationship with a healer. I'm a born again Christian. Till date, my concern is that one might be born again somehow later on cause friction in our relationship. No, Coco. Being born again is what, right? Eh, Being born again is having a new level of consciousness. So if you are born again as a Christian, it would mean that then you become Christ-like, who said, Wuti, in the eyes of God, there is no Jew, there is no Greek, there is no Samaritan, there is children of God. That's why they say through Christ, we can go through God, because through Christ, it's that consciousness of non-judgment. It's that consciousness of not thinking you are superior than the other. That's what the Christ consciousness is about. This is what we teach at church, not what we preach, because preaching is trying to convince somebody of an unrealistic theory. But Christ consciousness, it's a way of life, it's a way of thinking, it's enlightened, right? Is to be enlightened. So when you are enlightened, you realize that the path to God is not just your way. Their way is valid. So you can be in a relationship and be supportive and not necessarily want to do everything, but it will be a problem if you are saying this is against, because Christ was never against anything. He said, I have not come to take away, but I've come to add. It's our own interpretation. We need to start to learn to contextualize scripture, because once we contextualize it, we will take it as a book of wisdom that it is, versus as a book of this one, because the interpretation of the book of wisdom has been to serve a particular narrative so that the others can be obedient and be slaves to other people. And we continue doing that even in the modern times, where we want people to be slaves to our ways and nothing else. I'm saying I've already covered this topic. No. I'm not dreaming dreams, beloved. Learning to accept your calling before. Please look, there is about tips of things you need to know before you go for initiation. That's I've already covered that topic. So can a Sangoma still eat their stock? I think that's a complex question, Gogo. The thing is that it's challenging. It is definitely challenging. I would suggest, from my own experience, once you date a client, you cut off the relationship. One relationship must be cut off, because the lines get blurred. I mean, I dated a guy who I once worked with, and every time I would try to do something, it's like, no, ngazongitshela, so I'm controller. So it doesn't really work. It's not about eating his stock, or guys. They've got negative connotations, because now we want sangomas not to have feelings, and that they can't fall in love and they can't be sheltered by that. But I think create a boundary. When someone is your patient, let them be your patient, because they won't hear nor listen to you even when you are guiding them, because they're emotionally involved and they already know your vulnerabilities. So it won't work. It won't work, because when I'm sure now last Wednesday, so, and you see now you are no longer, your guidance and what you're trying to help them with, it's no longer seen as valid. So I would say don't. I would say, from my experience, no, I say rather refer them to somebody else, or let somebody take over. But it doesn't mean you can't still help your partner. I mean, mina nomkhulu sishadile and we both sangomas. Sometimes I ask umkhulu angihlolele, ngiyamhlolela nami, but we normally, yeah, I think we are at a mature state where he knows when I'm seeing things, it's not because I have an agenda, because he's my husband. Neither do I feel the same way. It would take a level of great majority. Importance of candle. You know why I won't touch on this topic? It does include certain sacred information for Busebelet, meaning the gift of prophecy. So the minute I start teaching you on that, I will be revealing things that only those who go through initiation are supposed to be exposed to. So certain topics I don't cover for that very reason, that I'm aware that as much as I love to teach, but I need to be careful of not to overteach, overexpose things that might do harm than good. Even dreaming of medicine, I won't speak about that. I won't speak about the medicine. Dreaming of them, it means you are called into. No, I won't. Thokoza gogo, amphumzile hlatshwa, please help me. Ngihlezi ukhokho after ngenza umsebenzi wakhe, the white guy whom I bought the cow from. I'm now in love with him, and it looks as if he's also having a calling like me. Can you please help me clarify about the relation? I don't know, Coco. You're asking me to consult. You have to come for a consultation. How am I going to clarify? I'm not. we have, I don't know whether Mkuli is the one who sent him to my life. I don't know, Standasam. I would not know. Sometimes things happen and we think it shows it, but it's just we like each other. Maybe it is, but because the problem, the minute we say yichlozi, your people will remain in toxic relationships. Guys, I was in an abusive relationship for a long time in the name of yichlozi. Those things can keep us captives, eh? We can be enslaved, we can be entangled in relationships in the name of yichlozi. So I don't want to say yichlozi, but say if natandana, whether yichlozi or not, just be grateful. And maybe it was that thing that made you come together. But I don't want you feeling like, oh, I must do it. Do you want to do it? Go and date it. But if you want to know more about it, then you have to consult again. When I guess more oh, spiritual STDs. Okay, okay. I'll look into that topic. Can I ask what is the relationship between Tamaku Koko, can I ask what is the relationship between homosexuality and Idlozi? Can you ancestors? No, Koko, they can't. People are born that way. They are not influenced by Idlozi. I have done a teaching on it. It's there on my YouTube channel. I feel like, you know, going through the process of initiation basically give people the courage to come out of the closet. Mina now, mina ngihamba nabomkhulu, but I'm not into, I'm heterosexual. So I don't think Guti, no, I don't agree, because then we are going to start now demonizing homosexuality, because it's idlozi. It gives people umuntu vele uhambe ephehlweni ayazi ukuthi what is their sexual orientation, and they are very scared because they're fearful of judgment and homophobic. Maybe their family is homophobic, maybe their friends. Then they're like, yeah, but I have no choice. You see, you've accepted me as a Sangoma, so you might as well accept ukuthi nginjengoba ngihamba nabomkhulu angizenzi. Vela uzenza uzenzanga uzale kanjalo. You are born that way. So it can't be good because of ethos. No, no, no. You can have certain tendencies, but your whole sexual orientation. Yeah, I see there's new tribe members. The importance of naming African spirituality, it's on YouTube. Check it out. It's there. I did it last year on Mkulubukash. Togoza Kok, is it possible Uguti abantu abadala? You know what I'm gonna try and do? It's create a playlist on my YouTube so it's easier to find videos. Togoza Kok, is it possible Uguti abantu abadala beti ukhulelwe kodwa wena ungaboni, uhambe nodokotela bangaboni kodwa bona bethi ukhulelwe? Yes, sometimes ukhulela isipho gogo, because people who remember pregnancy, umntwana ngesintu sethu is a gift to the family, to the community. So remember to ukhulelwe, it could be that you are carrying a gift, but it's not a human, it's a spiritual gift. How do I get my partner to easy into the calling? I think, one is you need to be very honest. I mean, it depends how long you've been with this person, but I said earlier on from the on-go, just tell your partner this is who you are while you are dating, before stronger feelings start to develop. It will save you lots of heartaches and heartbreaks. And then the other thing is that teach when they are ready to be taught. So also be patient with them. Don't impose, don't force. Just basically allow them, invite them to be curious and to ask questions. Share content that will actually be able to help them learn better, content that will also be enlightening versus perpetuating the fears that he has. Also find out what are his fears or his limitations into embracing this, your calling. And share information that will actually help him easy into it as well. And also practice a bit of patience. And if he's willing to be in a relationship, it's just that he's a bit hesitant. See how that goes. But also see if that's what you want to be part of. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. I gotta go. So yeah, it's 20 minutes after. Sabonga. Thank you for the likes. Remember to like, subscribe, share the video with your loved ones, share it with somebody who needs to help to listen to this. You can even share it, mojo, with your partner, this video. and get them to watch, and many other videos about being because being gifted can actually feel like we are carrying a disease or something, but we are carrying a gift. And the most important thing I'm going to leave you with, tribe, is that when you love your gift, it will love you back. First, also accept yourself before you want the whole community to accept you. Like we always say, the calling is not a community project. It does not need the whole community to consent to. First, you consent. You work with easing yourself into it. You work loving your gift. It will surely love you back. I am evidence of that. Izokuthanda into moyithanda nayo. So wena, be the one who understands this, accepts it, because once you do, you will start attracting those who see value in who you are, instead of you attracting those who need you to prove your value because of who you are. So like attracts like, guys. Thank you.